Preparedness is key, and events like this with Madison and UCD and similar events that have been held all over the country, we're starting out showing up on Brexit preparedness, are critically important. Raising awareness, planning for the impacts of Brexit is of enormous importance. It's coming at us now. I mean, it's 30th of March, a transition period up to the end of 2020, and then the UK is outside of the European Union. So all of the consequences of that need to be grappled with by business in the intervening period and planned for. So raising awareness, and what Madison is doing here today, is of enormous importance. The nature of our response will be determined by what the terms and conditions of the UK's departure are. So that's unclear as we speak, but by virtue of government decisions of July and September, our levels of preparedness for both an orderly transition-led Brexit are well advanced, and equally contingency planning in the event of a hard Brexit or a crash out in March of next year are equally underway. What's important apart from government preparedness though is that industry also continues to prepare. An enormous effort and resources have gone into working with companies that have an exposure to the UK to deal with the contingency issues that arise in the context of Brexit. So yes, I believe we are well prepared. For the agri-food sector and companies that have an exposure to the UK market, I think, deepening their engagement with their retail partners in the UK is critical, because we are not walking away from the UK market. It is by some distance the most significant market and should always remain so. Having said that, diversification is also important, and where that's appropriate for companies, it's not something you can, like a light switch, turn on overnight. But I believe a lot of companies have been working in that space also. So it's important that companies continue their endeavour in that regard. That's unclear at this point because we don't know the terms and conditions of their withdrawal, but it is a highly integrated market. We export €5.5 billion worth into the UK from our agri-food industry. The UK's agri-food industry exports over 4 billion into the Irish economy. So highly integrated, and a lot of work on supply chain logistics has been ongoing. I know that Bord Bia has been very involved in working with companies that have an exposure in the UK market to work through all the details and all of the scenario planning that's possible in so far as we can envisage what the outcome will be. As I said, we want the closest possible trading relationship with the United Kingdom. I believe that's what the UK wants also in a post-Brexit scenario. So a lot of work going on, led by agencies working with companies to ensure that we navigate this challenge as successfully as possible. The key issue is building resilience in the agri-food sector, and over the last number of years we've been putting additional resources into agencies like Bord Bia and Enterprise Ireland, and they have been working in partnership and bilaterally with those companies in helping them develop a strategy. And I think it is imperative that that work continues and that those agencies are adequately resourced to continue that work, and then that companies engage, because that's really where it's at in terms of continuing to build a relationship with their retail partners in the UK, but looking at the opportunities that are elsewhere for them also with their products, because diversification is a key part of the strategy. UK will always be important for the agri-food sector, but I think building that resilience in companies and in providing resources to our state agencies to work with them, I think, is the key issue. Business will always gravitate towards where the price is best, and the function of the department is to work with industry to look at where new market opportunities may exist. And we've been quite successful in that regard, only earlier this year opening the access to the Chinese market for beef, for example. So the industry's own ambition is contained in the document Foodwise 2025 that identifies in particular Asia and China as a critical emerging market, and we are putting a lot of resources in through agencies like Bord Bia, the market access unit in my own department, and then working with industry itself to kind of assist them in exploring and exploiting the opportunities that exist in those markets. And that's really important in the context of Brexit, looking for new market opportunities. In all of those trade missions that I've been involved in, and going shortly to Malaysia and Indonesia, we will have a significant trade entourage with us from the agri-food, the meat processing sectors, looking to exploit those new market opportunities. So I believe, yes, a lot of the companies have feet on the street in these markets now, and that's really important.